Good evening, councillors and staff, members of the public who are joining us in the gallery and those who may be watching online. Welcome to the October meeting of Corangamite Shire Council. We'll begin with the prayer. We ask for guidance and blessing on this council. May the true needs and well-being of our communities be our concern. Help us who serve as leaders to remember that all our decisions are made in the best interest of the people, culture and the environment of the Corangamite Shire. Amen. Acknowledgement to country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land around Corangamite Shire, the Eastern Maar and Wadawurrung people. We pay our respects to all Aboriginal elders and peoples past and present, and I'd like to extend that respect to Marcus Clark, who's joining us in the gallery tonight. Marcus is the CEO of the Eastern Maar Aboriginal Corporation, so welcome, Marcus. It's good to have you here this evening. Mr CEO, we have no apologies tonight.
That's correct, Mayor.
Is there any declarations of conflict of interest?
Mayor, there's been conflicts of interest declared from Councillor Beard in relation to item 7.1 and 9.11, and also from Councillor Macon in relation to 9.13.
Terrific, thank you. I'd like to introduce my fellow councillors and staff that are sitting around the table this evening. To my left is Deputy Mayor Geraldine Canady, Councillor Joe Beard, Councillor Jamie Vogels. To my right is Councillor Kate Macon, Councillor Laura Hickey, and Councillor Nick Cole, CEO David Ray, and our directors, Ms Brooke Love, Director of Works and Services, Ms Justine Linley, Director of Sustainability and Economics and Sustainability, I beg your pardon, Mr David Harrington, Director of Corporate and Community Services. I normally have all these written down, so I'm right across it. Mr Simon Bicari is Manager of Finance. And the other side, we have Ms Melanie Oborn, who's Coordinator of Planning, and Mr John Kelly, our Assets Manager. So welcome everyone this evening. Councillors, the minutes of the meeting, September meeting have been circulated. Would someone like to move those, please? Councillor Macon, seconded Councillor Cole. Any questions or queries on those, councillors? All in favour? That's carried. We have the honour of conducting some citizenship ceremonies this evening. So, councillors, I need to motion to suspend standing orders. Thank you, Councillor Beard and Councillor Vogels. All in favour? Carried. So, councillors, I ask you to join us down the back while we conduct these very important ceremonies. Okay, this is the exciting part of the evening. Well, it is for you guys and it is for us too. It's a real privilege, as my job as Mayor is to get to conduct these ceremonies, and I say this every time. I remember back when I did my citizenship and how at the time it just didn't seem like an important thing to do. But as I've got older, it becomes more and more important. So I hope you can, you have a really good day and going forward. There is a little bit of procedure to go through. A letter I have to I read on behalf of the Honourable Andrew Giles MP, the Minister for Immigration, Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs. Thank you for deciding to become an Australian citizen. Today you join a nation that is one of the most successful multicultural societies, with around half of all Australians either born overseas or with at least one parent born overseas. In Australia, everyone can be proud of who they are, and everyone should be respected, valued and feel a sense of belonging. We're privileged to share this beautiful country with the world's oldest continuing culture. This is a fundamental part of who we are. For more than 60,000 years, First Nations people have cared for country. Appreciating and understanding this truth is a vital part of what it means to be Australian. Australians are united by our shared commitment to democracy and the rule of law, and to the freedom of speech, religion and association. Our diversity is our greatest strength, and we prosper by embracing this. We believe in a society in which everyone is equal, regardless of their gender, faith, sexual orientation, age, ability, race, national or ethnic origin. Ours is the land of a fair go, in which respect and compassion underpin our care for each other and our willingness to reach out to those around us in times of need. By becoming an Australian citizen, you make a commitment to these values and to contribute to our evolving Australian story. On behalf of the Australian Government, heartfelt congratulations on becoming an Australian citizen. Andrew Giles. Now I need to read Schedule 1 of the Australian Citizenship Regulations 2016. Australian citizenship represents full and formal membership of the community of the Commonwealth of Australia, and Australian citizenship is a common bond involving reciprocal rights and obligations, uniting all Australians while respecting their diversity. Persons on whom Australian citizenship is conferred enjoy these rights and undertake to accept these obligations. By pledging loyalty to Australia and its people, by sharing their democratic beliefs, by respecting their rights and liberties, and by upholding and obeying the laws of Australia. Now, I'll ask to come forward. Yuhan? Yeah. And Nicola? And my hand. Maybe like so. If you could just repeat after me. From this time forward, under God, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. Congratulations. Forward to this pledge and stand here and then you can tell and can see you. From this time forward, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. Well done. Anyone would like to be photos before you go? Very well. I'm the photo organiser. So then you can just stick on your teeth or anything like that. Yeah, good job in front of the class.
Sorry, we forgot one thing.
As well, yeah, Ruth will get you in this man. It's my most favourite. Sorry, we'll just line you up in the middle. You come this way just a little bit. Yeah, good. You're all very welcome to stay and enjoy the meeting if you like, or else you can understand if you like. Move us out of, to resume standing orders. Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Macon, all in favour? Carried. Deputations and presentations. We have 3 this evening. Agenda item 8.1, planning permit application PP 2022-104, the creation of access to a road in a transport zone 2 and removal of native vegetation on the Timboon Port Campbell Road, Timboon. Mr Lloyd Peru, if you'd like to come to the lectern, and you have 5 minutes to make your deputation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm not very well prepared today. With lack of emails, information on what was supposed to happen through this process. But I'm just looking at the decision that's going to be made, and I hope and I pray to God you've made the correct decision if you do have this approved road reserve widening and operating, and I hope there is not an impact on the community. Every one of you sit here in this council, and one of you live on that dangerous S-bend. Not one of you live here. I'm here every single day. I know the dangers of that area of that S-bend and the amount of school buses that are going past here every day. So with your decision, I hope and I pray that there is nothing going to happen within your decision that you guys are going to make. I'd like to ask, has there been an impact study done with the traffic that's going through? I'm not sure if there has been. And I haven't been told that there has been. But for everybody that we had the meeting with the other day, nobody stood on that up towards the driveway near the roadway, and not one member stood to watch that traffic go past. Everybody was just looking at the road reserve. So I'd like to know if there has been an impact study on that area. Has there been monitoring with the traffic that goes past there, school buses that go past there every day? And I'm looking at the habitat and the wildlife that are in that road reserve. We had black cockatoos that have been there for I don't know how long. And they've been in those trees, and they've been there way before I was there. So to wipe out part of those trees that are there too. I've got video footage of koalas, of the black cockies that are there, and to wipe that out and the other vegetation that's there, it'd be a shame for it to see it be bulldozed. And that's what I'm looking at. Everything is going to be bulldozed. So I pay my respects to this Woodall peoples. I was going to have a smoking ceremony, go to that particular area. Friends of mine, Archie Roach, sister, is a relation to us. We're going to have the Aboriginal community come around and have a look at this area. So I can't say anymore. I wasn't prepared well, so I'd just like to say to the council, please look closely at the decision and the impact that it may have on family or tourists or anybody that's travelling down that part of the Great Ocean Road, which is a very active area. can't say more about that. Thank you for hearing me out. And, the decision is what it is. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Peru. The next deputation is agenda item 8.2, planning permit application WP 2023-076, two-lot subdivision, re-subdivision of lots to excise a dwelling at 499 Eastern Creek Road, Warrie. Mr. Hunt, please.
Firstly, thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. 3 months ago, I was in negotiation with a food company to sell a farm on 499 East Creek Road, Port Campbell. I didn't want to sell the house and shed. And the reason for not selling the house and shedding was that I employ a lot of people in the community, up to 30 in our businesses across the place. We can't get it up there. When this was going on, I rang Aaron and spoke to him to ask if a realignment of titles, as the farm that I'm on has already got 2 titles. 190 acre and 180 acres with the house at Chilling Road. I asked that, was it possible that he thought that this could happen? And he said, well, there's no change what the usage is. It's agroforestry and farming. So like dairy, beef, and he thought that a realignment would be easier and quicker. He didn't indicate any red flags at that time to me. I didn't seek for a title, new title, because I know how hard that is to get. I've been through with other struggle before. So knowing that I had the 2 titles, I had faith that I could make this work. So we went ahead, got Steve Myers to do the paperwork and submit it. It took 3 months before we heard back to have a site meeting, which we did. And that was virtually on the day when the deal was supposed to be done and finished. And I knew after that day that we had a meeting that this was going to be a problem. And although nobody said it on the day, I went home straight away to my wife and said, you're not going to pass this. So, in the interim, I thought at the time, well, a new title wasn't possible, but a realign was the way to go. It has not been looked at. There is a sunset clause on the contract I've done with this company, so they end up buying the house in time anyway. The use of this house to me is very, very important. And I'm in the midst of putting another house on another property on board for workers for the same thing. The last 2 years we've had workers staying in our extra homes in Peterborough, I've had caravan parks at the rec reserve in Port Campbell, just to house them. And as everybody knows, that's the biggest problem facing us at the moment. The concern I have is, if I keep this house, I use it, it's rented, it's not a problem. I'm concerned that if the tree end up in this house, it won't be used. They'll close the door, they don't do rent. I already drive up Eastern Creek Road, there's 4 empty houses as I get towards my property. And that's a big concern for me. I look around, even on Melrose Road and down through Turon Road, there's empty houses. Farmers have decided that they're not going to rent them out. It's very hard to do. I've contacted a few of them to see if I can work in with them to do the houses up a bit so I can put my workers in them. They're not interested. They don't want to rent. And that's all there is to it. So I'm asking that the councillors look at this purely on a basis. I'm not asking for a subdivision. I'm asking for a realignment for this property so that I can have ongoing use of that house for my workers in our business going forward. Thank you very much for your time. I'd just like to say with that I understand planning has become a very big issue across the board. You've only got to read the papers or listen to the news. It's not easy, and there's certain, I'm certain tonight there'll be a lot of interest in the outcome of what happens here tonight, as I've been contacted. But I think the one thing that comes back to planning here is that it's not a new subdivision. So not many places actually have the extra titles on their properties when they put them forward. This is what I'm asking for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr Hunt. And our final deputation this evening is with regards to item 9.3, the Aboriginal Participation Engagement Action Plan. Mr Clark, please.
Thanks, councillors, and thanks to the Shire for allowing me to speak tonight. I just want to say that was my first time witnessing the citizenship ceremony. It was actually great to see. And congratulations to everyone tonight who received their citizenship. From Eastern Mar's point of view, Eastern Mar Corporation, I'm the Chief Executive Officer. We commend the Corangamite Shire for their commitment to leadership and drive to developing the Aboriginal Engagement Plan. As you can see in the briefing notes, the process of getting to this stage was a robust process. It consisted of co-design, both with Eastern Mar Aboriginal Corporation as well as Waterong corporations, respectively. Eastern Mar, we cover a extensive boundary. So I just want to, impress on the councillors tonight that Corangamite Shire is the first shire that we've had in our large footprint. So in terms of Eastern Mar's footprint, we have 9 local government areas, so 9 local councils that we deal with. Corangamite Shire, the first council to be putting this forward and get to endorsement. By taking this initiative, the Shire has shown its dedication to fostering better working relationship, but it's more than a transactional document. It symbolises a strong commitment and provides a strong platform to work toward a relationship that is built on shared understanding, inclusiveness, empathy, and as well as the shared history. And it also enables Eastern Mar peoples to participate civically on matters that very purview of council as well. That's all I'll take on the matter tonight, but I'm looking forward to really getting into the work. There's a lot of actions towards it around really starting from a base of getting to understand one another, understanding Mar culture and Eastern Mar peoples, who we are as a society and what we represent. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr Clark. Councillors, now to the agenda, and I seek your agreement to just do some reordering of the agenda. Item 9.3, the item that Mr Clark just spoken to, I ask if you would agree that we move that to the first item that we discussed this evening. Councillors, happy with that? Yes. Happy with that. Thank you. We'll move to item 9.3, the Aboriginal Participation Engagement Action Plan, and ask Mrs Lindley to introduce the item, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Aboriginal Participation and Engagement Action Plan is presented to Council for consideration following Council's commitment to developing a plan with the Eastern Mar Aboriginal Corporation and the Waterong Traditional Owners Aboriginal Corporation in the 2022-23 budget and our annual action plan. The plan has been designed to support Corangamite Shire to implement the Victorian Aboriginal Local Government Strategy and has been based on and informed by insights from the Corangamite Shire staff, traditional owner surveys, workshops and discussions that have been far-ranging. The plan is a significant first step for Council and the organisation and includes 34 actions that fit under 7 strategic pillars of the Victorian Aboriginal and Local Government Strategy. The 2 top priorities identified by Corangamite Shire staff and councillors reflect that we are at the start of our journey, and they are, firstly, building stronger connections and increasing engagement between First Nations communities and organisations and non-First Nations citizens to foster understanding, respect and trust. And secondly, but not less importantly, building greater cultural awareness and understanding of First Nations cultural heritage and contributions amongst all citizens. Actions in the plan have been grouped into short-term, medium-term and long-term actions. These are predominantly operational in nature and may be largely accommodated within existing resources, and the staff are committed to pursuing this plan. The recommendation before council is to endorse the plan as presented. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs Nimley. Councillors, plan is in the agenda. You've had an opportunity to go through it. Someone like to move motion? Councillor Beard, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Canady, thank you. Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mrs Lindley, for that report. Firstly, I'd like to thank Mr Clark. Brett, thank you for coming along and speaking to us today. I've always been one that said we shouldn't talk about something we don't know enough about, and I think it's been more evident in the previous years as I've been on council that we continually keep getting questions asked by the community, and we know what our responsibility should be, but we're just not quite sure on how we're meant to go about it. So I think the infancy and this first step we've taken as an organisation on behalf of our community is, as you identified, our first step in our plan for reconciliation. And it is a significant step, as Mrs Lindley said. I personally want to be better educated, and I need to be better educated to be best representative for my whole of community. And I do believe, knowing how my kids are growing up now, is that they certainly know far more than what we do. So I think it's our responsibility to be better at this. And I love that it is a whole of organisation approach, and at the beginning we did do this as with our neighbours, Moyne Shire, which has been great. So we can learn together. But I think it's really important that this has been led by the whole organisation. So staff have been involved, councillors have had a chance to be involved, and the actions are going to be at a pace where we can do it in a way that's not tokenistic. I think that's the most important thing, is whatever we do, we get it right, and it's done in collaboration with those people that it's most important to, and that's First Nation. So I'm actually relieved that we've got to this point, and I love that, we've got another 12 months' time, we've got a new council potentially coming on board, and that we've already got a legacy ready for them. So thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to move this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Mayor. As usual, Councillor Beard speaks, leaves nothing out. But I'm really pleased that we've gotten to this point, and we have got an actual participation and engagement action plan on the table now, because we've talked about it for a long time. We've talked about the need to build a relationship with our Indigenous friends, and I'm glad that it's been done, so deeply consulted, and using the co-design process, because I think it's really genuine, and we want to be genuine about it. And I'm really happy that we're going to be still working together to build a stronger relationship, that we have that respect and trust between ourselves, and that we are really genuine about improving, and sharing knowledge. And I think it's going to be a really good journey, and I'm happy that we've got to this point. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Canady. Councillors, further comments? No, I think both Councillor Beard and Councillor Canady have said it so eloquently. I'm delighted that we've kicked this off, and hopefully other municipalities will follow our lead. And I'm certainly looking forward to having that growing understanding. And I think, as you use that word genuine, Councillor Canady, and it's that genuine respect and genuine trust that we can build on. And I can only see this as a positive partnership going forward. So, councillors, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr Clark. Councillors, reverting back to the agenda proper, up to item 7.1, Community Asset Committee memberships. Ms Love will introduce it, and Councillor Beard, I believe you have a conflict of interest. Sorry. In true style, your mother's volunteered for something. Typical. Yes. Sorry? Oh, yes, of course, Mr Perry. Yes, if you'd like. We're dealing with your item next if you wanted to stay, but otherwise you're welcome to go. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Ms Love.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, councillors, this report seeks to recommend the membership to 16 of council's community asset committees who volunteer their time to oversee the management of the facilities on behalf of council, including open space reserves, swimming pools, halls and aerodromes, everything but our mountains. The recommendation is before you, councillors, to nominate a number of our community members to those committees of management, noting that there has been some changes to that membership. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Love. Councillors, someone happy to move it? Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Macon. Councillor Hickey.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. I think these are the unspoken heroes or unsung heroes, thank you, of our society, people who put their hand up and volunteer for these committees. It's very important that we have the committees in place to maintain and to seek guidance for the use of our assets. And I think it's great that we've got such a good group of people who have come forward. I'd like to thank those who have stepped down off these committees because many of those have been involved for some time, and thank them for their service in the roles, but also welcome aboard the new committees and hope that they gain some satisfaction and enjoy their involvement within the committees of management. So very happy to move this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor, I think Councillor Hickey has summed it up quite well. These roles are completely voluntary, and the managing of these facilities should be acknowledged, and congratulations to all who are doing it. I would note that the Timboon Swimming Pool are still looking for a president, so I look forward to seeing that coming back to us in a month's time as to who they've got pulled into that role, you could say. And I too acknowledge everyone who's stepping off from these committees. You've done a fantastic job. It takes a lot of time and effort, and you should be congratulated for what you've achieved on your respective committees. So, and thank you to all who are stepping up. It's great to see new faces coming along and helping out with these committees. So more than happy to support this recommendation. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. Councillors, anything further? All in favour? Motion's carried. Someone... Councillor Beard. Surely she's gone. She is. Moving on to planning reports. 8.1 is planning permit application P 2022-104, the creation of access to a road in the Transport 2 zone and removal of native vegetation on the Timboon Port Campbell Road, Timboon. Ms Oborne, please.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Planning permit application PP 2022-104 seeks approval for the creation of access to the Timboon Port Campbell Road, which is in the Transport Zone 2, and the removal of native vegetation associated with those works. The proposal seeks to formalise access to the applicant's land from the road, which includes upgrading an existing vehicle crossing in accordance with Vic Road's design guidelines and extending the driveway along the road reserve. The works involve the removal of 10 metres of native vegetation. Council has received an objection to the application, which has raised concerns on environmental impacts and public safety. The Department of Transport and Planning are the relevant road manager for the road and have not objected to the granting of the permit subject to conditions. The report provides an assessment of the planning permit application against the Corangamite planning scheme and considers issues raised in the objection. It is considered that the proposal provides an acceptable response to the scheme, and councillors, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms Oborne. Councillors, someone like to move the recommendation, make an alternate? Councillor Vogels. Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to accept the officer's recommendation to grant access through this. The problem arises from the shared access, not from anything else but the shared access. I think the applicant had tried many times to get a different access to the road, but the Department of Transport was adamant that this is the safest exit point. So I'm pretty sure that it's fine by everyone right through. And then I think the problem's more at a domestic level than planning, and if the planning goes through, fine. Removal some vegetation, not much at all. So there's always someone that will be upset, which is sad. But I think it's more so that we just let it go through. I don't think there is a danger, and it's not opening up to every type of traffic. It's just creating access to a lot where they're going to build a house. So I'll go with the officer's recommendation there.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Beard.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Look, this is an existing access way, which we did see when we went on the day. I certainly sympathise with Mr. Peru, and he does live there, obviously, and he does see, we know he's seen some near misses, but we have to remind drivers, you have to drive to conditions. There's multiple driveway access points along our rural roads. It would be no different to this. It is a high volume road, just the nature of where it is. But it is an existing access way. We can't deny that. And I think it makes sense to upgrade that to facilitate this application. I think it's also worthwhile noting there was an issue with the removal of vegetation. Normally we're wanting more removed, not someone wanting less removed. Usually people love it when they can get some clearing done. But in this case, it has been kept quite minimal, and it is hopefully going to help in a safety sense. So you were right, Councillor, in regards to there being domestic issues there, but I think in a planning sense, the Department of Transport as a referral authority have done their due diligence, they've done their inspections. We have to go by them as the referral authority, so I'm supportive of the officer recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillors, is there any further comments? All in favour? Carried. Item 8.2 is planning permit application PP 2023-076, two-lot subdivision, a re-subdivision of lots to excise a dwelling at 499 Eastern Creek Road, Warrie. Ms Oborne, please.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Planning permit application PP 2023-076 is for a two-lot subdivision at 499 Eastern Creek Road. The proposal seeks to re-subdivide two existing lots in the farming zone to create Lot 1, a small lot of 5.6 hectares containing an existing dwelling, and Lot 2 consisting of 105.7 hectares of farmland. Subdivision is sought to facilitate the sale of the farmland. The application has been assessed against the Corangamite planning scheme, and it is considered that the proposal to create the rural residential lot in this location does not provide an acceptable response to strategic directions and planning policy in the planning scheme, which seek to protect agricultural land. Councillors, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms Oborne. Councillors, someone like to move this recommendation or an alternate?
Could I move an alternate recommendation, please, Mayor?
You can, Councillor Vogels.
So can I move an alternate motion that the council, having caused notice of planning permit application number PP 2023/076 to be given under section 52 of the Planning Environment Act 1987 pursuant to section 63 of the Planning Environment Act 1987, decides to grant a permit under the provisions of the Corangamite planning scheme in respect of the land known as CP 158063V and Lot 1 TP 749407D 499 Eastern Creek Road, Warrie, for a two-lot subdivision or re-subdivision of lots to the existing dwelling, subject to the following conditions. And I've had this circulated just in case, so hopefully everyone's had a look at it. So let's read through the rest
Has
of it.
everybody seen the alternate motion?
Yes.
Okay, you don't need Councillor Vogels to read it.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Vogels. So this covers compliance with approved documents under the permit, layout not altered, utilities, easement, certification, wastewater management, commencement of permit and expiry. Thank you. Is there a seconder for the alternate motion? Councillor Hickey, Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. So pretty much it's anything but ideal, but we are in great need of work accommodation in the Shire, especially in rural areas at times where people, not everyone wants to live in town that's working on a farm. So I think this will be a good use for work accommodation with the planning needs to maybe be re-looked at as calling trees agriculture, which is sort of a loose type of agriculture in my mind, which doesn't require any housing because no one needs to live on farm because nobody does anything there. So at this stage, and simply for the fact that there is no objections put in against this, that the boundaries get realigned, as Mr. Hunt was saying, to create a roughly 10-acre lot with a house on it. And I think this will provide much more economic benefit to the Shire than leaving it with the lot with trees on it and having another derelict house along the road.
Thank you, Councillor Vocals. Councillor Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. This was a difficult assessment, really, and came down to a bit of a line-ball decision as far as I was concerned. On one hand, we've got the tenancy laws which discourage people from renting out farmhouses to workers. We've got investors cashing in at the moment and newer home buyers purchasing houses to live. The market is certainly changing, and for a lot of these reasons, houses aren't being leased. So what's different about this? Well, there's a real need for worker accommodation, emergency worker accommodation. And if there are trees to be present in these areas, we could probably still utilise these houses for other use. I know it goes a little bit against our planning scheme, and I don't think for one moment that this is setting a precedent at all. But I think that it is, in this case, warranted that we maintain that or realign those boundaries and allow the realignment to take place and this house to remain in use. Of course, always a concern is the right to farm and the land use conflicts. So certainly praying that that's not going to be a factor within this, but I'm very happy to second this alternate motion.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillors, is there anything further at this stage? Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've had a lot of thoughts about this one too. I've travelled both ways with it. The fact up north, where I'm from, in the north of the Shire, not further north, I know the corporates have shifted in big time up there, and they either bulldoze the house, put it in a hole, or burn it, or get rid of it, so no one lives in the area. And the farms have become much, much bigger. They've basically ripped the guts out of the communities in a lot of ways. There's community assets up there, halls, etc. They've got no one around to use them anymore, so they're falling into disrepair as well. And it's a hell of a shame in that regard. The other part is, I get back to the right to farm, and it worries me that people may, in years to come, decide that they don't like the cow when maybe the farm goes back to agriculture again. They decide they don't like the cows moving out the front or the tractor driving around at 3 o'clock in the morning, mowing a pasture or something. So it's a problem, but I'm tending more towards.
Thank you. Councillor Beard.
Yeah, thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. And we've all had a tough time with this one, and thanks, Mick, for allowing us to come and have a look at the property. It always does help, but I know for a fact that our planning department, they're under the pump. They've struggled with this too. We have to take every planning application on its merits, and it's not, planning is not black and white. It's not simple. They've got, on one hand, council saying to them that we're all about agriculture and protecting agriculture, and then next minute you've got a planning scheme that enables the plantations to come in. So we're going to talk more to that in the next agenda item. But this is why it's been tough, because you can't say it's not about precedent, but that's what we cop from the community. I think, you know, this can change the playing field to a degree, knowing that there's so many applications now, and we've never had this many terms of applications around excisions of dwellings. So people will be watching this, and what's the detriment to that? But I can understand that if we don't support this, then we run the risk of losing that house entirely. So I can sympathise with Mr Hunt that he can use it, and we know what his business contributions are to our council, to our shire, which we are really grateful for, particularly down in the south. So hopefully, not assuming, we can't base our decisions on assumptions, that it can be utilised for key worker housing, as you said, and we can at least retain some residential use there. But we do have to be mindful, council, of that fragmentation and what our signalling is going forward, which I know we're going to talk more to in the next agenda item. So it hasn't been an easy one, and I don't like going against the planning department, but I know how much they've struggled on it too, because it isn't clear cut as what it seems.
Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, like the rest of the councillors, I think we've just been going backwards and forwards on this one. And even tonight, I've been looking at it and reading it over again and looking at my notes and thinking more on it. And I've just found this a really, really difficult decision, because it's really, really on the line. And, you know, I believe we've got our planning policy framework and our municipal planning strategy. They're there for a good reason. Like, they've been well thought through. There've been years, you know, over the years they've been adjusted and modified, you know, to reflect, you know, where we see our shire going, to try and sort of get our planning in the best interests of the shire. So I really have a lot of respect for those policies and the reason that they're there. And I actually, in one way, don't want this to happen, you know, because there will be further fragmentation in that area. We've just got so many competing interests here. We've got the forestry development, the worker housing, and retaining land for primary production. And, you know, nobody will argue with the fact that primary production in Corangamite Shire is our greatest economic driver and probably one of the most important assets that we have in the whole shire. And it's really tough when you see agricultural land going out of agricultural production. And if this decision goes through, that's what's going to happen to that piece of land. It's just going to go out of agricultural production. We're going to have further fragmentation in that area. But I have to admit that you know, we have a dire need for worker housing. There's no denying that. And, you know, we do have to judge each application on its merits. So on the one hand, there's a lot of reasons that I think it needs to be no, but we have that dire need for worker housing. The house is going to disappear anyway if the realignment doesn't occur. We'll lose workers potentially, I suppose, and you know, there's you know, money that won't be going around in the economy potentially. So, you know, on balance, I think I agree with the alternate motion that's been put forward, although I found it really, really difficult to make that decision.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillors, Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. I echo everyone's thoughts about having this one as a hard one. I think what does work in its favour is that there's other properties already along that road that have already been subdivided off and are in little lots. If they were not along that road, I'd have a very different point of view, I feel. And I'd like to thank the planning department on all their efforts and time they've put into this one. I know it's been hard for all of you. We've all tossed and turned on it. And yes, there is a need for workers' accommodation, but just because you say on your application that it's for workers' accommodation does not mean you are guaranteed for houses to be subdivided off your farm. I think that needs to be well and truly echoed. Yes, we need workers' accommodation, but in the right situation, in the right time and in the right place. So just be wary of that one. There's been no objections and this is a realignment of boundaries. I get that, understand that, but I just feel that if there wasn't the other lots in the area that were little and only had a few acres with them, then this would be a totally different situation. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. Councillor Vogels, do you want to sum up?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor. I will just say that that it probably, well, most likely will be worker accommodation. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that if somebody moved in there with 2 horses, 2 dogs and a cat, they'd provide more economic value to the Shire than a couple 100 acres of trees, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Before I put it to the vote, I totally echo all your sentiments. It has been a very difficult decision, and in normal circumstances, I probably wouldn't approve this subdivision. The loss of agricultural land and the issues around that are certainly key for Corangamite and for our agricultural sector. But in saying that, we do have a need for housing. My concern is that the property is down the track, it's secondary sale sold on to people who decide they need a tree change, want to be beside the coast, and they don't approve of the noise, the smells, and all things that go with working with a working farm. I will say, and it's one point of interest that I thought was worthwhile was the fact it was a 10-acre lot. So there is an opportunity to have a couple of horses and a few chooks and those sorts of animals. So it can still be in some sort of agricultural pursuit, but not the one that it is entirely in. Councillors, I'll put this to a vote. All in favour? Carried. Moving along to the annual report. And as required by the Local Government Act 2020, I'm pleased to present the 2022-23 annual report to councillors. As outlined in the document, the organisation has had a very productive year. 39 actions were identified, along with 50 key initiatives in the annual action plan, and pleasingly 90% of this work was completed. 2 long-term major projects were started, with 12 Apostles Rail Trail from Timboon well under construction and currently reaching completion, and the long-awaited redevelopment of Port Campbell Town Centre began with footpath works in Morrison Tregay Street. An additional $800,000 was applied to council initiatives in climate change, including the appointment of a climate change and emissions reductions officer. Work has continued in addressing the major issue of lack of key worker housing, as we've just heard. Council land in Timboon and private land in Simpson attracted significant funding from state government, and work is well underway in subdividing these parcels of land to make available to purchasers. Council has maintained a strong financial position. Carryover projects from 2021 to 22 and early payment of financial assistance grants have skewed the bottom line. These funds were committed to projects which were in part carried out in the 22-23 financial year, a fair proportion being for the rail trail and town revitalisation projects in Port Campbell. In light of changes to the federal funding model for aged care, the council made the very difficult decision to withdraw from providing this service. I'm grateful to Katie Hearn and our community service staff who handled this situation with excellent communication and genuine empathy for the 500 clients and 36 staff, and have made this transition as smooth as possible. Importantly, our small but very capable transition team will stay in place until June 2025. Again, the township of Skipton faced flooding in October. The commissioning of flood gauges further upstream on Mount Emu Creek meant there was accurate modelling of flood levels with additional time to prepare. Once again, it was all hands on deck, and this amazing little community came together and supported each other. Council staff were also part of pre-flood operations and, importantly, in the clean-up following. Immediately, we identified 57 damaged road sections and 22 bridges and major culverts that were in need of repair. As at 30th of June this year, 80% of these works are completed. There's been many highs to celebrate during the year, but also some lows. Rising costs, access to materials, staff and contractors have had major impact on the organisation. However, our staff have been able to be agile and creative in taking this challenge head on. As I said, it's been a very busy 12 months, and I didn't even mention that we managed to recruit a new CEO. But I take this opportunity to thank the entire staff of Corangamite Shire who continue to deliver quality services to our communities. I recommend to our residents and our ratepayers to have a look through the annual report just to see the breadth of services that we do deliver. Thank you, councillors. The full annual report has been circulated. Someone like to move a motion? Yep, thank you, Councillor Hickey. Do I have a seconder? And Councillor Canady. Councillor Hickey.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yes, it's a very well complemented or documented report. I did hear someone say that it'll probably sit on the shelf that won't be read, but I'd encourage everybody to get a copy of it, download it, and have a flick through it, because there's some very good facts and figures, and there's a lot of good information, and it's a very good showcase of what the Corangamite Shire has done. So I'm very happy to accept this annual report.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, it is. I would recommend the read. There's been just such a lot of work done in the past year, and I'm just really proud of the Corangamite organisation. There really has been a genuine effort to achieve outcomes because we're still struggling with some challenges, in terms of getting procurement and supplies and all, getting tenders, all that's still difficult at this time. But one thing I just thought, like, councillors make decisions, but it just takes the whole team, like the CEO, the directors, managers, and right through the whole organisation to actually get things done. And, when we're in our briefings and, when we get the opportunity to speak to some of the members of the staff, we start to realise just how much work's being done behind the scenes, and it's absolutely enormous. And, I continue to be amazed at just how many things that are done right across the organisation in the Shire. Like, there's a finger in absolutely every pie you can think of. So I'm just really proud of the whole organisation for how much we have achieved in the last year, of the exciting projects that we've got ahead of us, the agility, the innovation in terms of progressing those projects, and I know that we're going to see them through to the end, and I'm proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Anything further, councillors? Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and I think every year since I got on council, I think I used to force my kids to read this document when they were young.
Remind you of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're actually too big for me now to force them to do anything. But as everyone has said, if there's one document that you read in the community, this is it. But we often say it's council's annual plan, because annual report, I should say, because it's something that we have to do. But it's actually the Corangamite Shire's annual report. And I think Councillor Canade, Councillor Canade just mentioned, about how proud the staff should be. I mean, we set the budget. That's pretty much our influence in that regard. And then they're the ones who deliver. And I think in regards to our directors and our managers sitting here, I mean, congratulations to you guys. Please go back and just, again, if there's anything that the staff can do, is for them to even have a look at it and reflect over how much they've been involved in, because it really is a bit of it hits you in the face when you read it in a context like the report, to actually just see how much has been achieved and how much we actually get done in terms of what we're responsible for. It's phenomenal, and it has got bigger and more over the years. And we're still tending to do that with the same amount of people. So everyone are just really adapting and delivering beyond their means. So it's really awesome. And Madam Mayor, your report, awesome.
Thank you.
Great report to you.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. You can see a future career for me. Councillors, further questions, further comments on the annual report? Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll just acknowledge that it's virtually a year ago to this week anyway that Skipton was flooded, and I do know that it's a long, hard slog up there for them to get over it, but they've been very stoic, a lot of the community and things, but they've been also very, very grateful of the work the Shire has done in a lot of spots up there, and very appreciative of work helping them out, and that's wholly and solely the staff that have been up there attending to it and setting up and helping them out. Finding things when they need it, whatever, because you're wading through a mire of bureaucracy and et cetera, and the staff have helped them a lot with a lot of things. Might not be perfect, but we've tried our best to get it sorted out. So just acknowledge that and congratulate the staff on delivering all the things that have been done.
Thanks, Councillor Cole. Councillors, nothing further. I'll put it to a vote. All in favour? So did you want to speak, Councillor Vogels?
Oh, I was just going to say that we had a pretty seamless transition to our new charismatic CEO, David Ray. So I think it's good that we've changed CEOs and we've seen no hiccups, no bumps. Everything's just flowed through nicely. So thank you very much, David Ray, and for the directors who have worked very well to working with David. So from the top to the bottom, the Corangamite Shire shows that they're punching above their weight, achieving a multitude of things through the year. Probably, I think there's probably too much going on for the fact that we're sort of struggling with staff and that. So yeah, take hat off to the achievements of the year.
Thanks, Councillor Vogels. We can't even remember that other bloke's name now, that one before.
Yeah, I know. So
whatever his
He'll be
name
still
is.
sitting at home watching it.
He probably will. And it was remiss of me too not to mention the comms team who put the annual report together. It's a huge amount of work. So to Brooke Barnwell and her team, well done. And I just echo my councillor's thoughts about staff. It's not easy. I think sometimes being an employee of the council, there's a lot of people out there who, have a little bit of a swing at council employees from time. I don't mean a swing literally. Council employees from time to time. So, I certainly echo your thoughts and congratulate them on the amazing job that they've done in the previous 12 months. I've put that to a vote, but just I'm not sure in case you missed Councillor Vogels. All in favour? Carried. It's a big vote. Councillors, item 9.2 is the finance report for September 23. Mr. Vicari, please.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. This report is to note Council's current financial position as at the 30th September 2023 and to approve changes to the 23-24 forecast budget that have resulted from a quarterly review of the operations. Obviously, being the first quarter, only 3 months in, there's only one budget adjustment to note for the quarter, which is an increase in Council's Grants Commission allocation from the state government for this financial year. So it's an increase of $753,000. So this will see Council expect to finish the year that $753,000 higher in its cash position, which will be used for future projects. Council's current financial position is favourable to budget, which is mainly driven by the timing of some large projects, such as the Unlocking Housing and Port Campbell Streetscape. So this is where expenditure has been budgeted to be spent in the first quarter, but it won't be spent, hasn't been spent as yet, and will be spent in the second quarter. So as at 30 September, Council's in a sound financial position, with a healthy liquidity ratio above the sector average. The recommendation is before you, councillors.
Thank you, Mr. Vicari. Council, there's a motion there to receive the financial report and approve the adjustments. Someone like to move that, please? Thank you, Councillor Macon. Someone like to second it? Thank you, Councillor Vicky. Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. I'm very happy to support this motion to go through. As always, the finance team are doing a great job keeping the finances in order. But no, more than happy for this little variation to go through, and thanks to the Grants Commission funding for giving us a little bit of money. So that's great. It's fantastic. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. Councillor Hickey.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mayor. Whilst it's not as good an interesting reading as what the annual report is, it's still very interesting to read, and I'd encourage people to have a look in their time. And I'd just like to thank Mr. Carey for presenting this and keeping us on track. We're probably the envy of a lot of councils in the fact that we have such a great cash position. And who knows where that might go, but we hope that we're in very good hands, and with some budgetary discipline, we should be able to maintain that for the next 12 months. Happy to second the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey, and it's certainly good to receive an increase in your financial assistance grants and not the other way. Councillors, nothing further on this item? All in favour? Carried. Item 9.4, Grow Corangamite, Sustaining Our Agricultural Future. Mrs Lindley, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As Council is aware, agriculture is Corangamite Shire's largest industry, and Council seeks to position the municipality as a significant producer of sustainable food and fibre. This report provides a high-level overview of progress towards the development of Grow Corangamite, Sustaining Our Agricultural Future. the first strategy of its kind for the Shire, providing an economic development and planning framework to support and grow agriculture into the future. The strategy will assist Council in planning decisions, policy and appropriate zoning for rural land, protecting important rural assets such as the dairy industry, resilient food chains and any ancillary infrastructure. Since the development of the initial scoping study, an increase in the purchase of agricultural land for the purposes of timber production has occurred. The impacts that the growth of timber production plantations have on the dairy and agricultural industries in the Shire is a major consideration that requires separate and further analysis. This work is required to provide Council with an understanding of the direct and indirect impacts of land use change and can be completed while the Grow Corangamite study is in its inception stage, which is now. So it's therefore recommended to include an additional component to the study, and this extension will provide a specific analysis of the impacts of timber production and evidence and opportunities to consider what interventions, if any, can be taken to protect and support highly productive, sustainable agricultural land into the future. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs Lindley. Councillors, is a recommendation. Someone like to move that motion? Thank you, Councillor Macon. Seconded, Councillor Beard. Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. As we know, and as Ms Lindley has just told us, the agriculture sector is identified as the largest and most important industry in the Corangamite Shire, employing approximately 1/3 of the Shire's workforce. The agriculture production sector is the single largest sector of the Corangamite economy, generating just over 800 million of economy output for the 2020 and 2021 season. That is 30% of the total output and accounting for just over 2,000 jobs. The strategy will assist Council in future planning decisions, policy and appropriate zoning for rural land, protecting important rural assets such as the dairy industry. An increase in the purchase of agricultural land for the purpose of timber production has occurred, as we all well know. The impacts that the growth of the timber plantation production have on the significant dairy and agriculture industry in the Shire is a major consideration that requires separate and further analysis. This work is required as a matter of priority to the Council to provide us with an understanding of the direct and indirect impacts of land use changes from other agriculture industries, especially dairy, to the timber production plantation will have on the Shire, its economy and the communities. This must include consideration of the long-term position and viability of the Corangamite Shire to remain a key agriculture production and processing area. These strategies recognise that the Council contains areas of valuable and high-quality agricultural land and seek to ensure that agricultural land is protected, and acknowledges that the preservation of the limited supply of agricultural land is necessary for the sustainability development of primary production within the Shire. The extension of the study to provide analysis of the impact of the timber production will provide Council with evidence and opportunities to consider what interventions, if any, can be taken to protect and support highly productive, sustainable agricultural land into the future. And we have seen recently with the tanker strikes as to how much that has affected the dairy industry, as to farmers watching milk go down their drain instead of going to the producers and being put back into the supermarkets so people can have this. The cost of living is going up and up and up, and yet here we are, we're looking at more timber industries coming into the area and seeing the availability of land to be for agriculture and have the production there reduced more and more again and again. This is such an important strategy that we really need it done now, and we as a Shire need to look at how we can support our agriculture industry going further forward. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you. And I think councils already know where I'm going to probably go with this, because I've been quite vocal of late around how important it is that we get a true analysis of what's going on with the timber production and how it has really come at a rapid rate back into the Corangamite Shire, particularly in the south. And it doesn't sit well with me because I come from a small community, most people know in Cobden, where we rely, we're ag service industry, like providers. Our town thrives on, we've got Fonterra, and then we've got all those other businesses that support our farming cohorts across the region. And as soon as we start changing those practices, particularly from dairy, which is so much more intensive, to the likes of a plantation, the whole aesthetics of what that community existing will just change, and that's what I'm afraid of. Currently, our planning scheme, obviously years ago, in our wise ways, we had the ability to be able to support our agriculture and that, because we could see that as another industry. However, now it's going to become at the detriment of our prime agricultural land. This strategy that we're already doing was already quite a big major piece of work that our team's undertaking, and now we're throwing this inclusion at them, but it's significant and it needs to happen. The last time an analysis like this was done was back in 2008. Times have certainly changed so much in those years, and I even spoke with a school teacher today at Simpson to get a bit of an understanding of what's happening down there. Simpson are a lot like Cobden on a smaller scale, that they are a rural community, relied always upon the service provided to their local farmers. They're having families leaving the region, young kids, because the farms, and that's not the farmer's fault, that's just an opportunity comes along and they sell to a shore buyer, which is obviously the plantation businesses out there. But all of a sudden then we start losing population, we start losing our kids, we start losing the ability to have a school in a small rural setting. That really scares me. And that's why I think this piece of work is really important for us to get the right balance as a council to what do we actually want our council to be going forward. The other thing that concerns me is back in 2008, no doubt, plantations would have been used for domestic purposes. That's not the case anymore. What is the value of that to Australians when we know that it's for export use, international buyers, and for international carbon credits? So I think we really need to go full on with this, which I know Ms. Lindley and the team have really supported us with this because they know our concern, they share our concern, and we really need to get the true understanding of how this sits at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, it's really clearly obvious that we need to undertake this analysis. In the report, the statistics are extremely impressive and they clearly demonstrate the high value and importance of agriculture in Corangamite. But I just wanted to make a particular point that right now when we're talking about ag in Corangamite, we mean dairy, beef, sheep and cropping, but especially dairy. So in the production and processing sectors, these are generating 45% of our total economic output and 38% of our total jobs. Like, that's huge in the Shire. And in addition, they're supporting our tourism and driving our service sector as well. So there's no doubt that our prosperity is mainly due to our ag sector and our ag primary production sector in particular, which is our most important means of leveraging growth and prosperity. We're in like a very small pocket of fertile land. We've got excellent rainfall and climate. Everyone wants a piece of it. And now, the timber plantations are looking pretty closely at us now. It's perfect for sustainable and low-put food and fibre production. And I think it's worrying that that land potentially will go out of food production and into timber production, which, as far as we're aware, will mainly be pulped. And I'm not sure that that's the right land use in Corangamite. We are experiencing an increase in competing interests for land use in Corangamite Shire and pressure for that land use change away from established food and fibre production, as I just said. And the timber growers are showing particular interest in very, very large tracts of land in Corangamite. So we know there's a limited supply of valuable and high quality land with the excellent attributes that we have, climate that we have here, and that it lies at the core of prosperity in Corangamite, and also provides a lot of opportunity, like our current agricultural producers, beef, dairy, sheep, are really where most of our opportunity lies. So we need really to establish a sound and valid understanding of the impacts of timber production here in Corangamite. We need to understand really how it will affect our prosperity in Corangamite Shire, and I believe it's part of our duty to put the interests of Corangamite Shire as a priority, make it a priority. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Hickey.
Yes, thank you. Mayor, the Grow Corangamite Sustaining Agricultural Future Strategy is a very interesting document, and having spent almost my entire working career in agriculture, both as a farmer and as a trainer and educator, and more recently as in business, there's no doubt that the south of Australia is the area that the dairy and farming excel because of our rich soils and our almost guaranteed rainfall, and the proximity to markets. It does make it a very, very valuable area for agriculture. If timber plantations to make a bigger footprint in our shire and also in the south part of Australia, I think if it was used for structural good rather than to be pulped and sent back as paper, that would probably sit better with me. But the very fact that we can grow substantial amount of meat and wool, and I still think we're the leading region for milk production in Victoria. There is no doubt that this is a prime area, and it is up to us to protect the status of agriculture within our shire. So this strategy certainly works towards that, and I congratulate the people who have been in behind that, and the people who have actually sat in the workshops to make sure that the report is as thorough as what it has been. So happy to support this.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Is there anything further, councillors? Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. There's not a hell of a lot of room for a band-aid here after everyone's filled in all the gaps, but I think moving forward, this is really good to have this highlighted through our Grow Corangamite as to the ramifications of trees moving in. There's not an issue with who buys the land to do what with. It's a matter of why and what is the cause of when wood pulp will outbid dairy on land. So is there the big issue is why is dairy not able to outbid wood pulp? I think that's needs to be worked out higher up the line as to is it the fact that there's always hanging over your head is look at what might happen next year. They're looking at a big price drop, so people aren't ready to invest to take the step in. So there is other things at play, but I cannot see how dairy could not with turnover and economic value not outdo wood pulping. So there must be something else involved, which would probably be carbon credits, which I think is probably wrong the way that they're going about it. When somewhere like the Corangamite Shire, and you can check it all out through the research, is a 30% lower carbon footprint to produce milk than the country average, and only 30% of the world average. So if you're not producing it here in Corangamite at a low carbon footprint, it will get produced somewhere else. And I think Asia is increasing their milk output by about 2 billion litres every year, ongoing over the last few years, and that'll keep going up at a lot higher carbon footprint. So you're actually, by taking it out of Corangamite, increasing the carbon footprint to produce milk worldwide. And I was just thinking that when I was young, there was a children's book, and if you can get your hands on it and have a read, I think pretty sure it was called McBroom's Wonderful 1 Acre Farm. And if you can get a hand on that and read it, it'd be the closest thing to the southern part of the Corangamite Shire that you will find. And I don't know where you'd find that book, because that'd be 30 odd years ago, and it's just popped into my head. So
all the directors that are on their Google.
Have I got the name right? I do. So read that book. And then think of the Corangamite Shire.
Compulsory reading. We'll have to make sure we've got the good stock in the library. I think it'll be very popular. Councillors, there's nothing further. I'll put this to a vote. All in favour? It's carried. Item 9.5 is the Great South Coast Regional Digital Strategy. Thank you, Mrs. Lindley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Great South Coast Regional Digital Strategy was initiated in 2021 with the Warrnambool City Council and Moyne Shire Council and encouraged collaboration across the region. While Southern Grampian Shire was the recipient of the grant and acted as an auspice for the funding of the program, which is aimed at improving our region's digital capability, they weren't part of this particular strategy, so they were just banker for the funds. The strategy focuses on a regional collaborative approach towards a shared goal, and that is a digitally enabled region that is progressive, thriving and inclusive. The document is a high-level strategy that provides officers with a regionally based reference document that can support efforts to improve infrastructure, access and inclusion in the digital economy. The recommendation is for Council to note the strategy. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Lindley. Councillors, someone like to move a recommendation to note this strategy?
Come on.
Is anybody, motion lost? Thank you, Councillor Canady. Do I have it? Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, we certainly have dived into the digital world, all of us. Like as explained, the strategy is designed to expand our capability and enablement and to leverage our digital technologies. The strategy talks about dreaming big and to get value from our digital future. So I'm sure that that's what it's going to do. I like that we've got a collaborative approach to this with our neighbouring shires, and that we're working as a region to build our opportunities in the digital and tech space, because we all know that it's not going to go away, and it's hugely important in everything we do. I feel too that if we get this right, and I'm sure that we're going to make great strides in it, that we will help to make this region a place of opportunity as well. And that's one thing that I think, steer to all of our hearts, and that we all really believe is something that we need to continue to work towards. But as we become more entrenched in the use of smart technologies and for ag and doing business, providing business services in everyday life, it's becoming more and more essential to our everyday lives. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Councillor Cole, have you got anything to add?
Not a lot, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to say, I think in this sort of case, it is a much better idea to be united and stand together with a few others. Namely, we've got Warrnambool City Council and Moyne Shire and Southern Grampians, and I congratulate the two new mayors in Warrnambool and Moyne elected today. And I think it's the way to go, being united. This digital economy, everything is much bigger than one small council, and we've got to get a bigger sort of structure happening with it, and much easier to deal with, I think. So that's all.
Thanks, Councillor Cole. Councillors? Councillor Beard.
2 minutes. Oh, don't look at me so surprised. There you go. No, I think it's worth mentioning, and look, it's great to get an update, because it was something when I remember when we first came up with this collaboration, we were all very excited about. We didn't so much know a lot about it, but we thought it's how good it sounded. But this Thursday night, there's still an opportunity for the public and the community, particularly the likes of my husband, who's an IT, I don't want to say nerd, but I guess he is, he's very excited by this event. He's going to the Showcasing Digital Innovation and Excellence in the Great South West. It's a Deakin collaboration. It's held here in Camperdown. So it's probably worth noting that there's still the opportunity for people to get along to that and jump online. I'm assuming I'm looking at Mr. Ray, who would be all over that, or Mrs. Lindley. Both of you, but I think that's it.
Madam Mayor, if I may, still registrations are available. Go to our Facebook page and you'll find the relevant links to register.
I think it starts at 5:30 on Thursday
5:30
night
at
at
the
Camperdown.
Camperdown Golf Club.
I'm going to go.
Excellent.
So
I'll see you there.
I'm going to learn.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. That was very well done. Nothing further, councillors. All in favour? It's carried. 9.6, Community Planning Reserve Allocation. Mrs. Lindley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report is to seek council approval for an allocation to be made from the Community Planning Reserve for engineering and structural design work on a project aligned with the Lismore Community Plan. The project involves an engineering survey, alignment and structural design of replacement wooden footbridge at Brown's Waterholes for the price of $6,648.20, excluding GST. This is part of the Lismore Discovery Trail, a project developed as part of the Lismore Community Plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lindley. Councillors, someone like to move this recommendation to release this money? Thank you, Councillor Cole. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hickey. Thank you. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Lismore Discovery Trail, the wooden bridge that goes under the bridge at Brown's Waterhole, it's actually a pretty major part of Lismore's, keeping Lismore safe infrastructure. It's a footbridge that keeps, everyone can use it, and it keeps people off the highway going to the swimming pool from Lismore. You can walk down under it. It's knackered, basically. It's not safe anymore, so it needs renewing. And
it's an engineering term.
It is a vital part. I know it's you can't see it, and if you didn't go walk underneath it, you wouldn't actually know it was there. But it is very much a vital part of, as I said, keeping people off the highway, keeping kids off the highway as they're going to the pool, and I think it's a very important part of safety and concern for Lismore.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillor Hickey.
Not much further to add other than we are a responsibility to all our members of the Shire to have a safe place to work and play, and this trail is certainly well regarded down through Brown's Waterhole, which I've learned a lot more about since I've reacquainted myself with Councillor Cole. It's a very interesting trail. And of course, once it's replaced, everybody will be able to have the opportunity to go waddle down through that way and enjoy the scenic discovery. So we're happy to support this.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillors, anything further? All in favour? Carried. Item 9.7 is unlocking housing Timboon, Stage 1. Proceed with sale of land 5, Part and 17. I think that's Part 5 and 17 Curtis Road. Mrs. Lindley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report covers a required step to progress the Unlocking Housing Timboon project. In accordance with the Local Government Act, Council at its August meeting resolved to publish a public notice of its intention to sell land at part of number 5 and the full number 17 Curtis Road, Timboon, for the Unlocking Housing project in Timboon, Stage 1. This is a residential subdivision of up to 8 residential lots and associated infrastructure. No submissions to the proposal were received following the notice period, and council approval is now sought to proceed with the sale of land for the Stage 1 at Curtis Road, Timboon. Thank you, Madam.
Thanks, Mrs. Lindley. Councillors, someone move that motion. Thank you, Councillor Macon. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Vogels, thank you. Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. It's great that we're getting further and further along the process of getting this Unlocking Timboon along the process as it needs to go, and to make sure momentum keeps going and that we have the right outcomes over the next 3 to 6 months. Having valuations for these done by the third-party valuer, Preston, Rowe and Patterson, was great. Look forward to reading all that results. But no, this is just another step in the stepping stones, you could say, to make sure we continue along the line, to make sure we're on track to keep this project on track. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Bacon, Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through Madam Lord Mayor. Yeah, like Kate said, this is another stepping stone along the way. So not much more to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, anything further? All in favour? Carried. Item 9.8, for the first time, the Ready Now grants allocation for September. Mrs Linley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I think this might be the last time I have to present this evening, which is good.
You've had a busy
I've had a run. This is the first report on the Ready Now Grants program approved by Council at its last meeting. The program is beneficial in supporting instances of community need that are not readily available to be considered under the community enabling events, festivals, facilities or environmental grants programs. The program is designed to be flexible and responsive to community needs, and applications for the Ready Now grants are assessed as they are received and are recommended to the CEO for approval. Applications funded in September were from the Camperdown Angling Club Incorporated for the installation of energy efficient lighting, and the Port Campbell Surf Lifesaving Club Incorporated to purchase a double-sided mobile whiteboard and pinboard. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs Linley. Councillors, someone move this very first Ready Now grant. Councillor Macon, Councillor Vogels, Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Great to see that people are still applying for these grants. They offer a little bit extra to these organisations, so it's great to see Port Campbell Surf Club and the Angling Club. I'm sure they'll get a lot of use out of the lights and save lots of money with their energy bill, and whiteboard will be very effective for them for their presentations down the surf club. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Just remind Nicholas Cole that the name has changed, and you might have missed that one. As normally for the quick response grants, the hand was up. So there's much more efficient, much more user-friendly system, and so yeah, I'm glad to second that, and the new system should work well.
Thanks, Councillor Vogels. Councillors, put it to a vote. All in favour? Carried. 9.9 is lease part of 29 Grayland Street, Cobden. Mrs Love, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, councillors, this report seeks to establish a lease, renew the lease, with Cobden Technical School for part of the Cobden Racecourse Reserve located at 29 Grayland Street, Cobden. Council own the land at the Racecourse Reserve and have had a lease agreement with Cobden Technical School for a number of years for the purpose of them establishing and now maintaining a vineyard and olive grove in a wetland area. And it's provided opportunities for the students to learn about horticulture in these areas. The agreement is expiring, and we're looking to establish and renew that lease agreement for 5 years with an additional option of 5 years, and that would be pursuant to Council's property leasing policy recommendations before you.
Thank you, Ms Love. Councillors, someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Beard, do I have a seconder? Councillor Hickey. Thank you, Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and this is pretty operational really, but the tech school have obviously had what we grow up there calling the block for some time, and they really do. The kids get a lot out of being part of that, as Mrs Love alluded to, with the horticultural subjects that they're able to take under their wing by having that option of being able to, I guess, dabble in bits and pieces over there. The school highly rate having that parcel, that community parcel. And being part of the Racecourse Reserve Committee, our Community Asset Committee, I know that they're great neighbours. They're highly regarded with the other users, or the other leasee holders, I should say, in that precinct. So I have no problem with moving the motion to go with that recommendation. It just makes sense to continue on with what's already been happening. And as I said, it's a win-win for us and for the students.
Thanks, Councillor Beard. Councillor Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'm very familiar with this project that the tech ran over at the block. And I think whilst education is fabulous to focus on reading, writing and arithmetic, it's also fabulous to have students learn about the ability to be able to propagate and nurture plants and get back to working with horticulture and hopefully agriculture as well. So it's great that we can renew the links with them and encourage people to work out the way that plants grow and increase their education in that area.
Thanks, Councillor Hickey. Anything further, councillors? Councillor Vogels?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I think in the 80s I was a student at Cobham Tech and over there learning how to strain a fence and tie a wire and stuff, and it sounds like it's come a long, long way since then, if they've got horticulture stuff and that, because it was pretty darn basic in the 80s, but it was great to be able to go over there and do ag studies, and it's good to see Cobham Tech continuing on with that.
Thanks, Councillor Vogels. Councillors, nothing further. All in favour? Carried. Item 9.10 is special charge scheme for new footpath in McKinnon Street, Terang. Mr Kelly, please.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. So this report is for Council to consider declaration of special charge scheme for installation of footpath on the western side of McKinnon Street from Prince Street to Escort Street in Terang. It's a path that will connect to existing paths in Prince and Escort Streets. You also have high community benefit with improved access for students to the Terang College to the east. As a result, for this scheme, the property owner contribution is 25%. It's just over, in total, $10,400. Through the consultation process, there was general support from owners to the project. There were no objections. So with that in mind, and also the high community benefit, it's recommended that the special charge scheme for the footpath in McKinnon Street be declared.
Thanks, Mr Kelly. Councillors, someone like to move that? Thank you, Councillor Canady. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hickey. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Mayor. Certainly when we had the on-site meeting with the property owners that came along, there was certainly, they were very enthusiastic about this path going in. So it's, and you know, having spoken to some other members of the Terang community, I know that it certainly does fit the high community benefit criteria, because children are using those areas to walk to school. I know of one person in particular that helps a lady who is sight impaired to go for her daily walk along that area. He's actually requested a few times if a path could go in there. So it will certainly be a very welcome addition in Terang, and I certainly support the recommendation. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Canady. Councillor Hickey.
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you, councillors. I'll put that to a vote. All in favour? Carried. Item 9.11 is a special charge scheme for a new footpath in Parrot Street, Cobden. Councillor Beard, you've got a conflict with this one. Thank you. Mr Kelly, when you're ready.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. So this report is for Council to consider a declaration of special charge scheme for the footpath in the northern side of Parrot Street from Victoria Street to Walker Street in Cobden. It'll connect to an existing path in Victoria Street, or just east of Victoria Street. Again, there'll be high community benefit with improved access to the Cobden CBD to the north and the Cobden Health Service to the south. The property owner contribution is 25%, just over $6,900. Again, through the consultation process, there was again general support from owners to the project, and also with the high community benefit, again, it's recommended that this footpath in Parrot Street special charge scheme for it be declared.
Thank you, Mr Kelly. Councillors, someone like to move that recommendation for Parrot Street, Cobden? Thanks, Councillor Macon. Do I have a second to Councillor Hickey? Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. as we know, footpaths are a great asset to any town, and putting more footpaths in are a great benefit to the community. We know people are always wanting extra footpaths within the township to make it easier to get around, and this will be just another little connecting loop for them in Cobden. So I'm more than happy to support this recommendation, and I'll just let it know that if anybody is having difficulty paying the little bit extra that it is costing them, we always have payment plans and everything else for people if they need it. So just contact the Shire officers and we can help that way. So, but more than happy for them to support this recommendation. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Macon. Councillor Hickey?
Nothing for you.
Thank you. I'll put that to a vote, councillors. All in favour? Carried. Someone get Councillor Beard, please. Yep, thanks, Kate. Okay. Item 9.13 is a special charge scheme for a road upgrade on Curtis River Road, Timboon. Councillor Macon, you've got a conflict in this item. Thank you.
Yeah. This one?
Oh, sorry, I've jumped over.
Yeah.
Jumped over because I saw you getting up.
Yeah, I know. I was getting up too. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's quite all right.
Apologies.
I beg your pardon, everybody. 9.12 is a special charge scheme for a new footpath in Tate Street, Camperdown. Mr. Kelly, thank you.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. So yes, this report's for council to consider a declaration of special charge scheme for a footpath on the southern side of Tate Street, from just west of Dayskin Street to Clark Street in Camperdown. Path connects to existing path in Tate Street, and there's again community benefit with improved access for those living on Tate, Daskine and Clark Streets, and also for those walking for physical exercise on the street. Again, 25% contribution from property owners with just over $5,500 in total. There was majority support from owners for this scheme. However, there was submission during the process, objection from two of the owners relating to concerns about existing drainage issues in the native strip, just to the west of Daskin Street. We believe that can be addressed in conjunction with footpath works. Also, I was concerned that these owners were contributing over half of the apportionment from the owners. Pretty much the apportionment's based on the frontage of each of the properties, which is considered appropriate and in line with the council policy. So given the majority support and again the community benefit from this footpath, it's recommended the special charge scheme be declared for Tate Street.
Thanks, Mr. Kelly. Councillors, someone would like to move the motion for this footpath?
I ask a question before we proceed. Mr. Kelly, the property on 9 Tate Street is subjected to a lot of flooding continuing throughout the year. This footpath is probably likely to impact on that. Could you give me some clarification, please, on the drainage work that may be involved or may be addressed around the new footpath, if it was to go ahead?
Yep. Through you, Madam Mayor. So yeah, we've reviewed the site as part of this process with our team, and there is an existing stormwater drain that runs along that nature strip, and we believe that with installation of a pit and some other minor open drains, we should be able to capture that water at that nature strip. So we believe there's a cost-effective solution, which is not part of the scheme, but be able to treat those water issues.
I hope you move this motion.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Hickey.
Recommendation.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Kennedy, thank you. Councillor Hickey?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yes, it is. Footpaths are critical to our community. Gives people an opportunity to get out and walk and move around. I have a footpath in front of my place, but it doesn't extend to the Darlington Road, unfortunately. But I would like to say that I really hope that the flooding issues can be addressed. I'm quite confident that the works team can get through that. So I do hope that is the case. And just remind the community that there's 25% of this cost is coming from the residents, and 75% is for the benefit of the Shire. So 75% contribution comes from the ratepayers' coffers. So I'll move this motion. I'll move this recommendation.
Thanks, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Kennedy.
I don't have anything further to add. Thank you.
Okay. Councillors, nothing further. I'll put it to a vote. All in favour? Carried. Item 9.13. Thanks, Councillor Macon. Special charge scheme for a road upgrade on Curtis River Road, Timburn. Thanks, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. So yes, this report's for council to consider declaration of a special charge scheme for upgrading Curtis River Road, essentially sealing the gravel road, existing gravel road from just north of the golf course to north of Colcott Street in Timburn. The sealed road currently terminates adjacent to the golf club. Through the consultation process, we also undertook some traffic counts at the site over the summer period, and it demonstrated that there's certainly a high community benefit with this road being sealed. Particularly, there's a lot of through traffic that travel along the road to the Trestle Bridge to the north and the Lime Quarry, and also other roads to the north. And with that in mind, the large proportion of the contribution is from council for this project. The property, based on the traffic counts, the property owners' contribution is 8%, which is just over 17,600. Through the consultation, we've had a couple of meetings with the property owners, and with our last meeting, there was a general majority support to proceed. There's been no submissions through the formal process, and with that in mind, with high community benefit, it's recommended that a special charge scheme for the sealing of the section of Curtis River Road be declared.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Councillors, so I'd like to move this recommendation. Thanks, Councillor Vogels. Do I have a seconder?
Yep.
Councillor Hickey, thank you. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. I think there was majority support for this, and there's a lot of engagement from council with the residents. It's an extension from township, sealing a gravel road, so it's right on, fits well in with our agenda in our council plan. And I don't think it's the first one we've done, Ms Love. We've already onto this, and it's pretty much, we have, haven't we, done already got one in the works?
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, we'll be sealing Neil Avenue in Terang this year.
So that's good, and that fits in our council plan, and I think it's great that I'm pretty sure it's like 8% that the residents are paying to get the road gravelled out through there. So I think it's a pretty good outcome.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Hickey.
Nothing further.
Okay. Councillors, all in favour? Carried. Could someone grab Councillor Macon, please? Councillors, we're up to item 9.14, special charge scheme for new curb and channel in Dover Street, Cobden. Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. So yes, this report council to consider special charge scheme, installation curb and channel in Dover Street, from just north of Sylvester Street to Nayland Street in Cobden. It'll connect with existing curb that terminates just north of Sylvester Street. The works will be done in conjunction with the widening of the road, which is not part of the scheme. The road's currently 5 metres, and the intention is to widen it to 7.3 metres, which is standard for this type of road for two-way traffic. With the curb and channel, the benefits essentially with the owners. So in line with council policy, council's contribution is a minimum of 35% to the total cost of the scheme. property owner's contribution is just over $11,800. Through the consultation process, there's general support to the proposal. However, there was concerns from one property owner in relation to concerns with stormwater runoff that wouldn't drain away in the nature strip at the front of their property, and also concerns with the works on trees on the western side of the road. As a result from those consultations, the concept plan was revised with added detail as to the drainage works on that western side to help assist stormwater getting away, as well as there's a metre shift of the alignment of the road to the east to lessen impacts to trees on that western side, and that plan is shown as attachment 1 to the report. So with that in mind, and given there's general support to the proposal, it's recommended that the special charge scheme for Corangamite and Davis Street be declared.
Thanks, Mr Kelly. Councillors, so happy to move. Councillor Beard. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Macon, thank you. Councillor Beard.
Now, through you, Madam Mayor, and firstly I'd like to thank Mr Kelly and Mrs Love for joining me as we do on the side of the road. We met with the local residents of Dover Street. This has certainly been something that's been on the agenda for a few years now. I reckon it started back when we were looking at putting footpaths in, and then we started getting feedback around the implications of having the road narrow, and it was an anomaly really when you think that the road is at quite a wide length, and then all of a sudden it goes into a narrowing single lane way, and it is, school buses actually use that as a thoroughfare, so it is quite significant that we get this road widened. It does have a lot of people use it. It is probably a direct, for a lot of people, it is a direct route to get to Nayland Street from Curtis Street. A lot of people tend to use that direction. And I know I see it every winter, and I think I've taken photos and I've probably forwarded them to Mr Kelly, so I reckon he'll be glad when this gets done. He'll stop getting them around the drainage issues and how there's a lot of water that gets pulled within the residential driveways. So this will tick a lot of boxes for those residents. It's unfortunate that one particular resident did have some concerns, but I can guarantee that Mr Kelly has been liaising with her and trying to alleviate some of her concerns, particularly in an engineering sense, which is way above my pay grade. But I know that he has certainly been trying to appease those issues. So, but all in all, I think this will be a great outcome going forward.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Macon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, but nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, ready? We'll take a vote. All in favour? Carried. Item 9.15, Section 11A, Instrument of Appointment and Authorisation for the Planning Environment Act 1987. Mr Ray.
Mayor, thank you. Largely a administrative matter due to recent staff appointments. The council is required to endorse an updated Planning and Environment Act Instrument delegation, which is attached to the report. In authorising the instrument, it empowers officers to perform duties under the Planning and Environment Act, and the recommendations before you.
Thank you. Someone like to move this recommendation? Thanks, Councillor Kennedy. Do I have a second to Councillor Macon? Thank you. Councillor Kennedy.
It's procedural, Mayor, so I have nothing to say. Thank you.
Councillor Macon.
Not much further, other than I'm presuming we'll probably see a lot more of these coming through with staff coming and going. So we'll probably have a lot more coming through. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'll put that to a vote. Councillors, all in favour? That's carried. Item 9.16 is Section 11B, Instrument of Appointment and Authorisation, Section 18, Instrument of Subdelegation, Environment Protection Act 2017. Mr Ray.
Madam Mayor, thank you. Similarly, this instrument of subdelegation is in relation to the powers to be authorised or to be used by officers under the Environment Protection Act. The instrument is attached to the report and reflects recent staff changes or appointments as well. The recommendation is before you.
Thank you. Councillors, I'll have to move this one, please. Councillor Macon and Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have nothing further to add to you. Thank you.
Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, nothing further.
Further? Put that to a vote. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. That concludes that business. Is there any other business that councillors want to raise at this point in time? Councillor Vogels.
Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. And I'll just like to congratulate all the winners of the Milk Quality Awards that came out last week for the highest quality BMCC or lowest BMCC in the country. And I will state that Corangamite, we've worked out, got 27 gold diamonds and 20 silver diamonds, which is a fantastic achievement. Whereas mine seemed to only get 13 gold and 11 silver. Looks like we've doubled them, we've pipped them again on all things milk and milk quality.
Not that it's a competition.
Not that it's a competition, but congratulations, and it just highlights the quality and the input that the local farmers put in, and I do know how hard it is to keep it down really low. So congratulations to everyone for that.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. And while you're issuing congratulations, I'd like to congratulate Warren Couch from Scotts Creek. Warren is a former employee of council, and he's recently awarded the prestigious National Medal for Service and Life Membership Award for more than 50 years volunteering with the CFA. So well done, Warren, and I hope you're looking after that Achilles tendon.
One more thing, Mayor. We must congratulate you, Mayor, for your 20-year service to local government. So congratulations on your award, Mayor. Thank you for all your effort and time you've put into local government. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Open forum. Nothing from Mr Mulholland this evening. So with that, councillors, we have no confidential items. So I will close the meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance, and thanks for those who are watching online. Our next meeting will be the 28th of November, where we start off the meeting by electing a new mayor. So it's something I've never done with this council, but I'll close this council meeting with a... Other mayors use their gavel much more often. Thank you for watching.